When I first started disc golf, the emotion that I got from it right away was absolute freedom. Like, it didn't matter how I played the game, who I played it with, I loved it. My dad always told me, leave it better than you found it, and that is what my whole career is kind of based off of. So I got into the sport 2005. There's a bunch of people there and somebody gave me a disc. But they're like, all right, well, give it a go. And I threw it and the thing went straight up, straight left. And I think that's the point where I was hooked. I started playing tournaments kind of right away too. So it was like a real fast progression. Within 2 months, I already played a tournament. After 4 months, I played my first PDGA event was the Junior Worlds. I was so new to disc golf that I barely knew the rules. I had a fly fishing bag and my discs in there. I was putting with a rock and I played the Junior Worlds and I took 4th. A couple months later, I got like the PDGA magazine and I was like in there, you know, my name was in there. And I remember reading that and being like, man, this is so cool. So I practiced the whole year. And that's when 2006 rolled around and we went to AM Worlds in Tulsa. I think I shot like 8 or 9 under in the final 9 to come back and tie and push to a playoff, and then I eventually won. And that's the point where kind of everything changed. After I won AM Worlds, then Discraft sponsored me. And then from that point on, I knew that that was gonna be my life. Early in my career, I remember the hype about like majors or national tours or anything like that. It wasn't the same. I remember back then, everybody would be like, oh, that guy has like 100 wins, like he's the man. And so that was a goal that I put on myself early. I wanted to get to 100. And at Charlotte Kilbourne Park, that's where I got my 100th win. That's why that meant so much to me, because it was a goal that I set early. Back when I, decided that disc golf was gonna be my thing, it was never going to be lucrative. You win a C tier, you got like 5 extra discs. You win a B tier, you won like $100. And so the only way you could even get by is by playing every single weekend. Back then, there was very little YouTube. I had a lot of fans because I went everywhere. I remember one stretch I went from Massachusetts to Washington to play 2 tournaments. And then I got used to it and that was just my life. Well, as of this year, I will be touring full time for 16 years. Time went on, contracts got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I stayed with Prodigy for 6 years. Mike and I were able to maintain a really good friendship, and I'd always go back to Michigan and stay at his house, and he knew my character, he knew the way that I was. Through that whole process, him and I remained really good friends. Then, a few years back, I was talking to Mike, and they had all these big plans, and I remember thinking like, this is a big decision, And that's when I made the decision to go back to Discraft. There was also rumors that Macbeth was coming. And I remember thinking, man, Paul and I, if we got on the same team, like this could be like really good, really good. We both signed the same year, and I feel like that changed everything. So then when I made the switch to Discraft, I also wanted to be the captain, which was kind of a crazy idea of somebody who's not on the team to come on the team and just right away be the captain. We talked about it and I said I want this role, and we worked it out. I think the biggest thing was maintaining that friendship with Mike for so long, and then just the grind of the whole career and the respect that I feel like my competitors have for me. So we signed the contract, and for 3 years I worked my ass off. Not only playing, but then I got involved with social media, YouTube, my own brand, different things. So this wasn't a story of things getting handed to me because I was good at disc golf. This is a story of Paul Ulibarri works his butt off. Because here's the thing, and I know this, I have never been a prolific winner at the highest level. You know, I've won a lot of tournaments, but I've only won one Elite Series in my life. You know, I've taken, I think, more top 10s than maybe anybody who hasn't won a major. And I had to dig deep, and that's a tough conversation you have with yourself, you know, like to accept who you are. And so I wrote down goals of what I wanted. When I first signed, we worked hand in hand to design a new disc, and that's where the Raptor came from. That disc was designed from what felt comfortable in my hand, and it became one of the more popular discs in the lineup. It was important to me to make sure that that disc was a good disc for everybody. Having the Raptor meant everything to me because I helped make it, and so to see that kind of come to fruition was huge. So then the 3 years went by, we put in the work, and my contract was coming up, and Bob came to me with an idea of, hey, we're making a new disc and we want you to have that. And so that was like, you know, one of those other moments of like, oh, I did it. Now I actually did do it. So to have the Captain's Raptor, to have my name on it, it feels like I earned it because I had never had my own disc before. And that's one that I could really say, you know, this is mine. Bob and I have worked really hard together to kind of build the team that we have. You know, and I feel like I have fingerprints on this team. That was our dream when I came to the team. Like, we were gonna build the best team in the world. In order to get on the elite team, we had put in place a point system. Like, there's no gimmicks, there was no favorites. If you got enough points, then you earn your spot. And last year, I had my worst season ever, and I didn't make the points. This year, we were signing some new players, and Bob was like, yeah, we don't have enough room. And that's when I was like, well, you know, I didn't make the points. It was Anthony Barella who we wanted to get, and that's a no-brainer for me. He's an Arizona kid. I've watched him since he was 8 years old. And what Dano did for me early on, what kind of person am I if I don't do this anyway? And so I gave up my spot. You have to lead by example. And so making those sacrifices for something like that is an easy decision for me because of how I feel about the role that I have. I thought that meant like I would just be the captain and maybe take on that role as just that, or move down to the tour team or something like that. And then Bob told me, he's like, no, that meant so much to me and Discraft that we'd all talked, and we're gonna move you to the Icon team. I'm like, no, I'm 34, like I haven't done enough, you know, to deserve that. Because once you're on the Icon team, you're in Discraft forever, which was kind of like a mind-blowing moment for me. The people on there are Dan Ginley, who I've looked up to since I first started. I think C.R. Willing, and then these world titles from Nate and Val, and then Michael Joe's been in it forever. And because of these players being so amazing, it takes a full career to get on that team. And I'm 34, I got 6 years till Masters. So to be put on that team is an absolute honor. My life has changed a lot over the last couple of years. I have a home base. I fly in and out of tournaments. Like, the touring life has definitely changed for me. I'm getting married in November to Sarah, who is the love of my life and a pivotal key component to my success. When I met her, my life changed. I feel like that's important to have people like that in your life. And so I have to give her credit for that, for giving me confidence, for giving me the support that she does. Last year we started the Ulibarri Leadership Foundation, which is nonprofit that provides scholarships to collegiate disc golf athletes. I came up with it because it's been an idea of mine for 10 years or something. When I went on tour, I had an opportunity to take a scholarship, and I didn't. I wanted to play disc golf instead. And in those tough years, I always questioned, like, what if I would have taken my scholarship and went to school? Now, back then, if I were to have had a scholarship to play disc golf, I would have went to school. So hopefully with this, they won't have to make that tough sacrifice, and they can go to school because they're disc golfers, not choose between the two. The near future looks like the same as it's always been. Like, I'm gonna be out there grinding. I'm gonna play every elite series that I can, all the majors. I still have goals that I have to meet. It's amazing because I'm on the team with those guys, but I'm not to a retiring point in my life, even in the slightest. Like, I'm 34 and I feel like I'm getting better and better. I don't plan on slowing down as far as anything like that goes ever. I want to be competing at a high level longer than anybody. One guy I look at for inspiration is, you look at Johnny McRae, man, that guy is a killer. And I want people to look at me the same way. Michael Joe, same thing. I think Ken Climo won a major at 40. That's where I want my career to go, is I want to be good for a long time. I know deep in my heart that at the end, when it's over, I can look back and say, I didn't half-ass anything, and I earned everything that I got. And I'm not done yet. Like, I'm going to win more. If anybody who knows me knows that that's in there, and it's gonna happen. My point is, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks of you. What matters is what you think about yourself. Period. Period.